Hello, Morongo Basin and listeners around the world online at Z107.7fm.com. Here is the Z107.7 local news for Wednesday, March 5th, 2025. A man reported to be drinking alcohol inside of the Yucca Valley Walmart is also suspected of resisting arrest and injuring two deputies, requiring one deputy to be sent to the hospital. On Sunday at around 3:45 p.m., San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies responded to Walmart in Yucca Valley to investigate a shoplifting incident. According to security footage shown to a deputy, Angel Castro, a 35-year-old resident of Joshua Tree, took a bottle of alcohol off of a shelf and began drinking it inside of the store, and then he took and ate food from the shelves. Deputies say that as Castro walked out of the store, he was contacted by a deputy and ignored orders. The deputy detained Castro and says that a struggle ensued. Additional deputies and an officer from the California Highway Patrol assisted with the arrest of Castro, who was taken into custody. The Sheriff's Department says that two deputies sustained injuries during the incident and one was taken to a local hospital for treatment. Angel Castro was arrested for investigation into robbery and resisting arrest and is being held at the West Valley Detention Center on $50,000 bail. Frank Lucchino, who served for many years as the city manager for 29 Palms before taking on the role of city manager for Desert Hot Springs, announced his retirement yesterday. Lucchino worked for 29 Palms for 8.5 years. Beginning in March of 2015, Lucchino is credited with being a principal in the revitalization of the 29 Palms downtown area, serving through the creation, financing, and subsequent construction of Freedom Plaza, formerly known as Project Phoenix. In October of 2023, he announced that he would be working for Desert Hot Springs as city manager. A press release issued by the city of Desert Hot Springs on Tuesday said that Lucchino announced his resignation effective immediately and that the city expressed its deep appreciation for his contributions and leadership. Doria Wilms was appointed interim city manager for Desert Hot Springs. She has served as deputy city manager for Desert Hot Springs since 2021. The Yucca Valley Community Center was packed full last night for the Yucca Valley Town Council meeting, where council members heard updates on the Yucca Valley Animal Shelter and fielded public comments on the concerns raised during the February 18th meeting, specifically the shelter's euthanasia rate. Online news editor Robert Hayden was at the meeting and picks up the story from here.
Despite a hefty update on the Western Joshua Tree Conservation Plan by Deputy Town Manager Shane Stuckel, in which he outlined the potential cost of home improvements if the conservation plan went into effect, the town's animal shelter dominated the council and the audience's attention at last night's meeting. About 50 people showed up to hear updates on the shelter. Town Manager Curtis Yakima was absent during the February 18th meeting, and he said he reviewed the entirety of last meeting's comments regarding the shelter and its operation. He set the stage for Tuesday night's public comment period by stating that the town is 100% confident that all staff adhere to state, county, and local regulations and requirements for the shelter, which he calls a top-tier facility.
We're absolutely confident that our entire Yucca Valley Animal Shelter staff is fully dedicated to the well-being of the animals that we serve at the shelter. That being said, the town staff is not so presuming or cavalier as to think that we can't do better.
He went on to say that the shelter is under an operational review to ensure that they have the facts and clarity on the issues brought up during the last meeting, and Shane Stuckel outlined what the shelter and town staff would be going over during the 90-day review, which he said should be in front of the council around June. The public comment period was filled with stories of the difficulties those in attendance say they have with the shelter, namely that many animals are being euthanized without a chance for adoption or rehabilitation. Comparison to other local shelters in Victorville, Joshua Tree, and 29 Palms were brought up, specifically the strides in some shelters attaining a no-kill status. Volunteers were also a hot topic, with Shane Stuckel stating that the shelter is too short-staffed to be able to handle volunteers, something that was disputed several times during the public comment period.
First of all, I'd like to contradict the idea that volunteers need so much supervision, because I'll bet you have some volunteers here who could run that place. The people who are running it are the ones who need the supervision.
That comment from a resident seemed to open the floodgates to talk about the staff specifically, with multiple people calling for replacement of the shelter's director, Doug Smith. Resident James Porter dug into shelter data from 2 other facilities in the county that he says has a bad reputation for having a high kill rate, and found that their kill rates were nearly half of what Yucca Valley's is.
So our job is to make government uncomfortable. If we want a better shelter system, we fight for it. We come here every 2 weeks and we talk. We talk for our 3 minutes. According to Transparent California, Doug Smith made $153,000 last year in pay and benefits. Tell me that he's earning that money, and everybody here, keep coming and keep talking.
While some residents went a little over the 3-minute time allowance to share their stories, the room remained orderly until after the public comment period, when the majority of the crowd in attendance stood up and left during Jim Schooler's comments, defending the current shelter's staff and the facility that he helped create.
And I know there's other opinions, but my experience was that all of the people that work at the shelter love animals and are there because they love animals.
The town council received and filed the update on the operational review of the shelter before moving on to the budget report for the last half of 2024, as well as a land development update on businesses around Yucca Valley. You can find a longer version of this story online. That's all at Z107.7fm.com. Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Robert Hayden.
Last night's 29 Palms Planning Commission meeting focused on the housing element in General Plan Status Annual Reports. Annalise Kuiper joins us with more information.
During public hearings, the progress made towards meeting the goals of the housing element was addressed. These reports give detailed information regarding building permit activity, which includes both planning and building permit applications for housing developments, the type of housing, and the expected income of the future residents. 965 units are due to be completed by 2029, while 3 out of 8 engineering projects have already been completed. There were no amendments, and the Planning Commission voted to approve and forward the Housing Element Annual Progress Report and the General Plan Status Report to the City Council. Once approved by the City Council, these reports will ultimately be submitted to the State Office of Planning Research and the California Department of Housing and Community Development. There were no public comments on these hearings. A study session followed this meeting. Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Annalise Kuiper.
If you or someone you know is going hungry, free food will be given away today in Yucca Valley. There will be a USDA-sponsored food distribution at Pacific Clinics, located at 58457 29 Palms Highway, Suite 102B in Yucca Valley from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. today. The City of 29 Palms continues their new session of yoga classes designed for all ages and skill levels. Every Wednesday at the Lucky Park Activity Center promises a full day of yoga sessions. Dula Supinda Siri leads classes for seniors, teens, parents, pregnant women, and everyone in between. Most classes are drop-in and cost about $15, though senior yoga is free. If you miss yoga today, classes are set to continue 4 Wednesdays a month for the foreseeable future. For the full schedule and information about signing up for classes in bulk, see this story at Z107.7fm.com or call 760-206-6467. And finally, the Flying Doctors, the all-volunteer team of dentists, hygienists, and vision professionals, return to the Morongo Basin this weekend to provide free services for the community. Jeff Grabo, corporate chair of Los Medicos Valedores, was the guest on a recent episode of the Z107.7 Up Close show where he described the upcoming event to host Gary Daigneault.
So tell us about this event. Coming up March 8th and 9th, what are the Flying Doctors going to be doing in Yucca Valley?
This event is very special. After last year, I got so many requests saying people could not get their dental needs met and their vision needs met at the same time. So it was decided to go to a 2-day event, which is something we had never attempted before. First off, for this event, as you come into the parking lot, you'll be met with one of our student ambassadors who will escort you through the maze of Yucca Valley High School to the MPR, where you'll be registered and then get a numbered wristband for dental or vision. If you go to vision, you'll be examined by one of the California licensed optometrists. You get to pick out your own frames. The prescription in the frames then go to our fabrication unit, where the glasses are typically made on site
So
as you wait.
you walk out of there with a complete pair of glasses?
You walk out of there with at 1 or 2 pair of prescription glasses. The first day on Saturday, there's 22 dentists who are registered, to include 2 oral surgeons and children's dentists, and the rest are general dentists and 11 hygienists. Even if you don't have a cavity, you can come and get your teeth cleaned and brightened for spring break for all of you college students.
Appointments for this weekend's event are not required, as patients will be seen on a first-come, first-served basis. The Flying Doctors land on Saturday, March 8th and Sunday, March 9th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Yucca Valley High School Gymnasium. That's our local news. Hear local news 7 times a day, 7 days a week at 7, 8, 9, noon, 4, 5, and 6. If you hear about news happening, let us know. Email us at tips@Z107.7fm.com. Reporting for the Morongo Basin News Leader, the award-winning Z107.7 Local News, I'm News Director Jeff Harmatz.